Welcome, dear friends, to a serene journey through the life of Wolverine, that beloved and mysterious figure whose claws cut through shadows and whose heart bears the weight of countless battles. From his first appearance in the pages of The Incredible Hulk in 1974 to his place as one of the most iconic figures in the Marvel Universe, Wolverine's story is one of complexity, resilience, and quiet strength. Tonight, we'll explore 150 gentle facts about this legendary hero, facts that paint a portrait of a man forged in the fires of pain and survival, whose journey is as much about inner peace as it is about external triumph. As we move through these facts, you'll discover the delicate layers of Wolverine's character, from his troubled past to his deepest relationships, from his unyielding healing factor to the gentle flicker of humanity that remains within him, even as a fierce warrior. Let this journey be one of calm discovery, where each fact brings you closer to understanding and rest. Now take a moment to soften your breath. Feel the warmth of your body and the quiet hum of the night around you. Let go of the day's weight and let yourself drift as I whisper these facts into the quiet spaces of your mind. And if you find yourself enjoying this peaceful journey, you are always welcome to subscribe and softly share where you are listening from tonight. Now, as we begin, let your body relax, your mind soften, and allow yourself to settle into the story, ready to embrace the first quiet step into Wolverine's world. Fact 1. Wolverine, whose real name is James Howlett, but who is more commonly known as Logan, first appeared in The Incredible Hulk 180 in 1974. Created by writer Roy Thomas, artist John Romita Sr., and editor Stan Lee, he was initially introduced as a foe for the Hulk, emerging from the shadows as a mysterious and formidable character. With his retractable bone claws and enhanced senses, Wolverine quickly captured the imagination of readers. His initial role was small, but it set the stage for what would become one of the most beloved and enduring characters in the Marvel Universe. Fact 2. Wolverine's iconic claws, which are often the first thing that comes to mind when thinking of the character, were originally depicted as being made of bone. These claws were part of his mutation, retracting and extending from his knuckles. It wasn't until much later that the claws were retconned into being made of adamantium, an indestructible metal. This change not only gave Wolverine a more powerful edge, but also deepened the complexity of his story, as his own body became both his greatest strength and a constant source of internal conflict, with the claws becoming a symbol of his violent past. Fact 3. The origins of Wolverine's ability to heal from almost any wound, known as his healing factor, were hinted at from the very beginning, but not fully explained until later. This remarkable ability allows him to recover from even the most grievous injuries, making him nearly immortal. The healing factor also extends to his aging process, slowing it down significantly. Over time, this aspect of his power has been explored in many ways, including the emotional and psychological toll it takes on him. As Wolverine watches those around him age, he is forced to confront the loneliness of immortality. Fact 4. Wolverine's time in the Weapon X program was a pivotal moment in his life, one that would shape the man he became. During this experiment, his skeleton was laced with the indestructible metal adamantium, making him even more lethal and nearly invulnerable. The traumatic memories of his time in Weapon X were initially erased from his mind, leaving him with fragmented recollections of the horrors he endured. The scars from this time run deep, and they are part of what makes Wolverine such a tragic, complex figure. A man with a violent past, but a heart seeking redemption. Fact 5. One of Wolverine's most defining characteristics is his relationship with the X-Men. Though he often struggles with authority and his own place within the team, he has been a central figure in the X-Men comics since the early 1970s. His bond with Professor Xavier is one of respect and mutual understanding, though at times strained by Logan's own chaotic nature. Wolverine is a loner by nature, but his time with the X-Men forces him to confront his need for connection, showing his vulnerability in a way that few other characters in the Marvel Universe do. Fact 6. Wolverine's complex relationships with his fellow X-Men reveal the softer side of his character. His friendship with Cyclops, for example, is built on mutual respect, but is often marked by tension, especially over John Grey, whom both men have loved. His rivalry with Cyclops is legendary, but deep down, there is an unspoken understanding between them. Similarly, his relationship with Rogue, the young mutant with the power to absorb others' memories and powers through touch, is one of deep care and tenderness. Wolverine often serves as a fatherly figure to her, protecting her from both external threats and her own inner turmoil. Fact 7. Wolverine's relationship with his enemies is as complex as his relationships with his allies. His most iconic nemesis is Sabretooth, a feral mutant with similar powers and a deep-seated hatred for Wolverine. Their rivalry spans decades, with both characters often locked in a cycle of violence and revenge. Despite their shared similarities, the two are polar opposites in terms of morality and emotional depth. Sabretooth embodies pure savagery, while Wolverine is a man of deeply buried honor, trying to hold on to his humanity even in the face of overwhelming darkness. Fact 8. Despite his gruff and violent exterior, Wolverine is often portrayed as a deeply philosophical character. He is a man of action, yes, but he is also a man of thought, plagued by questions of morality, redemption, and identity. His healing factor, while a gift, is also a curse, leaving him to contemplate his place in a world that changes while he remains largely the same. This sense of existential struggle has led to Wolverine's deep reflections on life, death, and everything in between, making him one of the most philosophically layered characters in the Marvel Universe. Fact 9. Wolverine's love life is marked by both passion and tragedy. He has been romantically involved with many women over the years, including Jean Grey, Silver Fox, and Mariko Yashida, the latter of whom he once considered marrying. However, his relationships are often complicated by his darker nature and the toll his violent life takes on those close to him. The death of Mariko, his tragic love, was a turning point in his life, leaving him emotionally scarred and further fueling his deep, brooding nature. Yet despite the heartbreak, Wolverine never truly gives up on the idea of love and connection. Fact 10. One of the most fascinating aspects of Wolverine's character is his connection to nature. Despite his violent tendencies, Wolverine has always felt a deep, almost spiritual connection to the wilderness. This is particularly evident in his time spent in the Canadian wilderness, where he found solace away from the complexities of modern society. His time in the wild has allowed him to hone his survival skills, making him a formidable tracker and hunter. This connection to nature has always been a grounding force for him, offering moments of peace amid the chaos of his life. Fact 11. Wolverine's journey to self discovery is a winding, often painful path. Though he is known for his strength, one of his greatest battles is the fight to remember and reconcile with his past. His memory, often fragmented by trauma and manipulation, has been a central theme in his story. From the manipulation of the Weapon X program to his own attempts to erase painful memories, Wolverine's struggles with identity and memory highlight the vulnerability beneath his hardened exterior. Each piece of his past, whether a fleeting fragment or a harsh truth, shapes who he is in profound ways. Fact 12. One of the most unique aspects of Wolverine's character is his versatility and adaptability. Despite his tendency to embrace solitude, he has continuously found himself in the company of many different groups and heroes throughout the years. Whether it's the X-Men, the Avengers, or other superhero teams, Wolverine's presence often brings balance. His gruff nature and deep wisdom serve as an anchor for the younger, more idealistic members of the teams he joins. Yet his adaptability is also a reminder of the survival instincts that define him, instincts honed over centuries of enduring the darkest parts of life. Fact 13. The Weapon X program, which made Wolverine the warrior we know today, is also a source of intense trauma for him. This government experiment sought to turn mutants into weapons, and Logan was no exception. The process laced his bones with adamantium, but it also erased his memories and left him broken. His time in the Weapon X program has been depicted as one of the darkest chapters of his life, and its effects linger in his psyche. These experiences fuel his distrust of authority and government, leading him to become a fiercely independent figure who fights for those who cannot protect themselves. Fact 14. Wolverine's healing factor, which allows him to recover from almost any wound, is both a blessing and a curse. While it makes him nearly indestructible, it also means that his body is constantly regenerating, causing him to live with pain that never fully heals. His heightened senses and his animalistic instincts, while allowing him to perform incredible feats, also make him more attuned to the pain and suffering around him. This duality, the constant regeneration and the ever-present scars, is what makes Wolverine such a tragic but heroic figure. He is a man defined as much by his suffering as by his strength. Fact 15. Wolverine's adamantium claws are often seen as a symbol of his violence and aggression, but they also represent a part of his humanity that he constantly struggles to control. The claws, which are integral to his mutant powers, were forced upon him during the Weapon X program, and they are a constant reminder of the pain and manipulation he endured. Yet despite their association with his violent past, Wolverine often uses the claws reluctantly, only drawing them when absolutely necessary. They serve as both his greatest weapon and a haunting reminder of the darkness he carries inside. Fact 16. Wolverine's iconic yellow and blue costume, which he wore during his early years as a member of the X-Men, has become synonymous with his character. It's a vibrant, almost playful look for a character who is anything but lighthearted. The costume, with its sharp lines and bold colors, contrasts sharply with Wolverine's rugged, grizzled persona. Yet over time, this iconic suit has come to represent the delicate balance between his fierce, warrior side and the more heroic figure he strives to be. It's a visual representation of the duality that defines Wolverine, a fierce protector wrapped in an unlikely exterior. Fact 17. One of the most enduring aspects of Wolverine's character is his deep sense of honor. Despite his violent tendencies and troubled past, Wolverine has always had a strong moral compass. He has a code of ethics that governs his actions, which often places him in conflict with other heroes who do not share his sense of right and wrong. He may not always follow the law, but he follows his own inner sense of justice. This moral complexity is what makes him a truly tragic hero, a man who is constantly torn between his instincts and his desire to do good. Fact 18. Wolverine's healing factor is not without its consequences. It has been shown to affect his emotions and thoughts, particularly when he has sustained severe injuries. After healing from traumatic wounds, Wolverine often struggles with a sense of disorientation and detachment. This emotional numbness is compounded by his immortality. His long life means he has seen countless loved ones grow old and pass away, leaving him to wonder if his survival is truly a gift or a curse. These existential questions plague him, adding layers of sadness and melancholy to the otherwise indomitable strength that defines him. Fact 19. Wolverine's role as a mentor is one of the more tender aspects of his character. Over the years, he has taken on the role of teacher and protector to many young mutants, particularly those within the X-Men. His bond with the younger generation is one of mutual respect, though he often struggles to express his emotions. Wolverine sees much of himself in these young mutants and understands the dangers of the world they are stepping into. Despite his gruff exterior, he cares deeply for those he mentors, often putting their well-being above his own, even when it costs him dearly. Fact 20. Wolverine's adventures have spanned far beyond the pages of comic books. He has appeared in numerous animated series, video games, and of course, live-action films. Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine in the X-Men films has become legendary, helping to bring a new generation of fans to the character. Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine's complexity, his ferocity tempered by vulnerability, helped elevate the character to iconic status in Hollywood. His portrayal has become so synonymous with the role that it is hard to imagine anyone else in the part, cementing Wolverine's place in popular culture for years to come. Fact 21. Wolverine's complex, often tortured relationship with his own humanity has been explored time and time again throughout his stories. His feral nature, which includes heightened senses and a penchant for violence, is often in direct conflict with his desire for peace. Deep inside, Wolverine struggles with the brutal side of himself, questioning whether he is more animal than man. It is this inner conflict that makes him such a compelling character, constantly torn between his instincts and his attempts to lead a life where he can find moments of peace, however fleeting they may be. Fact 22. Throughout his life, Wolverine has had numerous run-ins with some of the most formidable villains in the Marvel Universe. These enemies often serve as stark reflections of his own struggles. One such enemy is the villainous Omega Red, whose own abilities, including toxic pheromones and an adamantium skeleton, mirror Wolverine's own in eerie ways. Their battles are as much about their contrasting ideals as they are about their physical strengths. Wolverine's ability to survive, even when facing a foe as deadly as Omega Red, speaks to his endurance and tenacity, but it also highlights the emotional toll these confrontations take on him. Fact 23. Wolverine's relationship with the Japanese culture has been a prominent part of his story. His connection to Japan and its traditions stems from his time spent training there, particularly under the guidance of Shingen Yoshida and other martial arts masters. During his time in Japan, Wolverine fell in love with Mariko Yoshida, a woman from a noble family. Their tragic romance, marred by betrayals, enemies, and Wolverine's own inner demons, is one of the most poignant aspects of his character. Wolverine's connection to Japan is not just a geographical one, it represents a deep internal conflict between honor and violence. Fact 24. Despite his complex past, Wolverine is often portrayed as a loyal friend and an ally to those in need. His loyalty to his fellow X-Men, especially to characters like Cyclops, John Grey, and Storm, has been a defining part of his journey. Though his gruff nature and tendency to push people away can make him seem distant, he is fiercely protective of those he cares about. Wolverine's sense of loyalty is perhaps most evident in his protection of the younger mutants, whom he often treats with a fatherly affection, though he would never admit it openly. Fact 25. Wolverine's time as a member of the X-Force, a covert team of mutants tasked with handling dangerous missions, was another defining period in his life. X-Force pushed Wolverine to confront darker aspects of his character. The team, led by Cable, took on missions that often required morally gray decisions, and Wolverine's willingness to follow through with such dangerous actions was a reflection of his ability to confront the harsh realities of his world. His involvement in X-Force added another layer to his character, a willingness to protect others, even at the cost of his own soul. Fact 26. Wolverine's connections to his past are often strained and fragmented, but one of the most consistent and heartbreaking relationships he maintains is with his estranged son, Daken. Daken, who was raised in a violent environment, was influenced by his father's legacy, but twisted by his own dark impulses. Their relationship is fraught with conflict and distrust, with Wolverine constantly torn between his desire to protect his son and the fear that his bloodline is doomed to repeat the same cycles of violence and pain. Daken represents both the potential for redemption and the darkness that runs in Wolverine's veins. Fact 27. Despite his many battles and tragic losses, Wolverine's deep sense of personal honor has made him a trusted figure among other superheroes. Though he does not always follow the rules, he has a strong sense of right and wrong, even when it comes to situations where others might see no clear answer. His decisions are often influenced by his internal code of honor, which places great value on the protection of the innocent, even at great personal cost. Wolverine's willingness to sacrifice for others, often at the expense of his own well-being, is a testament to his inherent sense of justice. Fact 28. Wolverine's iconic berserker rage is another defining feature of his character. This state of uncontrollable fury comes over him when he is pushed to the brink, and it transforms him into a force of pure instinct. In this rage, he becomes nearly unstoppable, with his senses and healing factor pushing him to new levels of power. However, this berserker rage is not without consequence. It is an emotional release for Wolverine, but it also serves as a reminder of how much he struggles to control his animalistic nature. The rage is both a strength and a weakness, symbolizing his constant inner battle. Fact 29. Wolverine's place in the Marvel Universe has transcended beyond just being a hero to becoming an enduring symbol of resilience. His story is one of survival against all odds, and this theme resonates deeply with his fans. Whether he is fighting physical foes or grappling with his own demons, Wolverine's journey is ultimately one of endurance and perseverance. His refusal to give up, even when facing seemingly insurmountable odds, has inspired generations of readers. Wolverine is a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always the possibility of finding the strength to keep going. Fact 30. Wolverine's ability to endure the hardest trials is most apparent in his long, drawn out battles with his past. His healing factor allows him to physically survive what would be fatal to others, but it is his emotional resilience that truly defines him. The loss of friends, the haunting memories of his past, and the burden of immortality all weigh heavily on him. Yet through it all, he continues to fight not just for himself, but for those who cannot protect themselves. It is this blend of inner strength and compassion that makes Wolverine such a multifaceted and enduring character. Fact 31. Wolverine's life has been marked by the tragic and often violent relationships he has with the women he loves. One of the most significant was his relationship with Mariko Yashida, a woman of noble birth whom he fell deeply in love with. Mariko's death at the hands of her own family members left a permanent scar on Wolverine, and her loss became a pivotal moment in his life. The romance was filled with passion, but it was also marked by betrayal and bloodshed. This relationship exemplifies Wolverine's struggle to balance love with the harsh reality of his violent world. Fact 32. Wolverine's tragic backstory also includes his connection to his father, Thomas Logan. Thomas was a violent man, and his actions directly impacted the young James Howlett, who eventually assumed the identity of Wolverine. This painful familial relationship would shape much of Logan's view on family, violence, and the responsibility that comes with power. The murder of Thomas Logan, a moment that set young James on the path to becoming Wolverine, has had lingering consequences throughout his life. This trauma and loss, tied to his very origins, continues to fuel Wolverine's need for redemption and justice. Fact 33. One of the most important aspects of Wolverine's persona is his connection to nature. His time spent in the wilderness, particularly in the Canadian forests, allowed him to develop a deep understanding of survival in the natural world. Wolverine's time in these wild places represents a retreat from society and a return to a simpler, more primal existence. It is here that Wolverine finds moments of clarity, free from the chaos and complexity of his life with the X-Men and other superhero groups. Nature offers him solace, a reminder of life beyond the violence and confusion of the modern world. Fact 34. Wolverine's healing factor, while a powerful gift, also carries a heavy psychological burden. Not only does his body regenerate rapidly from almost any injury, but it also affects his memories. This regenerative ability is tied to the manipulation of his mind, especially during his time in the Weapon X program, where his memories were wiped and altered. This constant struggle with his own recollections and the loss of his past leaves Wolverine feeling adrift in his own life. The healing factor makes it difficult for him to truly escape from his traumatic experiences, as his body and mind remain in perpetual flux. Fact 35. The iconic yellow and blue costume Wolverine wore as part of the X-Men was designed to be striking and immediately recognizable, yet the suit was also symbolic of his internal conflict. On one hand, it represents his place within the X-Men, a team of idealists trying to protect humanity. On the other hand, it represents the persona of the warrior he has become, someone who has spent much of his life in battle. The bright colors stand in stark contrast to the grim reality of Wolverine's life, a symbol of both his power and his desire for a greater purpose. Fact 36. Wolverine's leadership role within the X-Men has often been questioned, especially given his tendency to operate alone. However, his experiences and wisdom make him an invaluable asset to the team. Wolverine's strategic mind and his ability to think quickly under pressure have made him one of the most effective leaders when the situation demands it. Despite his gruff exterior, he has been entrusted with guiding younger mutants and teaching them how to control their powers. His deep understanding of pain, loss, and survival allows him to offer wisdom and protection that few others on the team can provide. Fact 37. The Weapon X program, responsible for turning Wolverine into the weapon he is today, not only gave him adamantium claws, but also created an enduring sense of distrust in Wolverine. The government's attempt to control and manipulate him left deep scars, both physical and emotional. As a result, Wolverine has spent much of his life on the run, trying to escape the shadow of Weapon 6, while also grappling with the moral questions of whether he can ever truly escape the violence that was imposed upon him. His distrust of authority is a constant theme, shaping his relationships and decisions. Fact 38. Wolverine's legacy as a warrior is built on the blood and pain of countless battles. However, his greatest struggle has always been against himself. His berserker rage, which often erupts when he is cornered or deeply hurt, is both his greatest weapon and his greatest enemy. This rage transforms him into a force of nature, allowing him to defeat nearly any opponent. But the consequences of losing control, the collateral damage, and the emotional aftermath are what haunt him. The rage is a reminder of the duality that exists within him, the man he wants to be and the beast he fears he is. Fact 39. Wolverine's reputation as an unstoppable force is partly due to his extensive combat training. From his time in Japan, learning the ways of the samurai, to his years spent as a soldier in various wars, Wolverine's skills in hand-to-hand combat are unparalleled. His fighting style blends brutal, animalistic instinct with precise, calculated technique. This training makes him one of the most dangerous individuals in the Marvel Universe. Yet despite his prowess, Wolverine's true strength lies in his ability to adapt to any challenge, learning from every battle and applying those lessons in future confrontations. Fact 40. Wolverine's role in the X-Men is not only that of a fighter, but also that of a protector. He has often taken on the mantle of guardian, watching over the younger mutants and providing them with a sense of stability in a world that can seem hostile and unforgiving. His protective instincts are particularly evident when it comes to Kitty Pryde and Jubilee, two younger mutants who he has grown particularly fond of. Despite his hardened exterior, Wolverine has a deep sense of care for those under his protection, even if he struggles to express that care in conventional ways. Fact 41. Wolverine's bond with his fellow X-Men is rooted in shared experiences and mutual respect, despite their differences. As a team member, Wolverine has always had a complex relationship with Cyclops. While both men respect each other, their contrasting leadership styles often put them at odds. Cyclops is the disciplined, strategic leader, while Wolverine is more impulsive and driven by instinct. However, despite their differences, Wolverine has come to understand and value Cyclops' leadership, and the two have developed a deep, albeit unspoken, bond. This dynamic underscores the delicate balance between order and chaos that defines the X-Men. Fact 42. Wolverine's connection to the X-Men isn't just about fighting for a cause, it's about a deeper sense of belonging and finding family among those who are different. His own troubled past made it difficult for him to trust or let anyone get close, yet the X-Men became a surrogate family for him. Wolverine found kinship in the shared experiences of his teammates, each one of them struggling with their own form of pain and isolation. This bond, built on mutual understanding and empathy, is what made the X-Men more than just a team to Wolverine. They became his chosen family. Fact 43. Wolverine's time spent in the Savage Land, an isolated and dangerous area of the Marvel Universe, highlighted his ability to adapt and survive in the most extreme environments. The Savage Land, home to prehistoric creatures and primitive tribes, became a place where Wolverine could temporarily escape the complexities of modern society. His time in this untamed land gave him an even deeper connection to nature, as well as a sense of inner peace that he could never quite find in the bustling, danger-filled world of the X-Men. In the Savage Land, Wolverine could rediscover himself and embrace his primal instincts without the weight of civilization pressing on him. Fact 44. Wolverine's history is not just filled with pain and battle, but also with moments of introspection and solitude. Despite his outwardly aggressive demeanor, there are times when Wolverine is shown reflecting on the nature of his existence. His immortality, the burden of constantly surviving and watching loved ones perish, often leads him to question his own purpose. He asks himself whether living forever is truly a gift or a curse. This existential dilemma is a central theme in many of Wolverine's story arcs, as he grapples with the emotional weight of his life and the psychological effects of his regenerative powers. Fact 45. One of the most enduring qualities of Wolverine is his capacity for survival. He has survived countless wars, battles, and betrayals, often emerging from each experience with a renewed sense of purpose. This resilience is a testament to his indomitable spirit, but it also reflects his connection to the pain he has endured. Wolverine's ability to continue fighting, even after losing so much, is what makes him a symbol of perseverance. He embodies the idea that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there is always the possibility of finding strength to rise again and push forward. Fact 46. Though Wolverine is known for his fighting skills, his true strength lies in his ability to protect those he loves. His protective nature is evident in his relationships with the younger mutants of the X-Men. He has taken on the role of mentor to many of them, guiding them through their own struggles and teaching them how to survive in a world that often misunderstands them. His ability to offer guidance, even when he is not always the most articulate or emotionally expressive, has made him a father figure to many, including Kitty Pryde, Jubilee, and Rogue. Fact 47. Wolverine's connection to Professor Charles Xavier, the founder of the X-Men, is a complicated one. While Wolverine often disagrees with Xavier's idealistic vision of peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants, he deeply respects the professor. Xavier's unwavering belief in the possibility of a better world stands in stark contrast to Wolverine's more cynical view, shaped by years of violence and loss. Despite their differences, Wolverine values the professor's wisdom and leadership, even if he doesn't always agree with his methods. This relationship exemplifies the tension between hope and reality that runs through much of Wolverine's life. Fact 48. Wolverine's violent past and numerous enemies have led him to develop a deep distrust of authority and government. His experiences with being manipulated by organizations like Weapon X, as well as his time spent fighting in wars, have made him wary of those in power. He often operates outside the boundaries of the law, relying on his own sense of justice to guide his actions. This rebellious nature is a core part of Wolverine's identity, as he refuses to be controlled or used as a tool by those who would exploit his abilities for their own gain. Fact 49. Wolverine's resilience extends beyond his physical healing factor. It also applies to his emotional and psychological endurance. Over the years, he has been subjected to countless horrors, including the loss of friends and loved ones, the manipulation of his memories, and the constant weight of his past. Yet despite these hardships, he has never fully succumbed to despair. Wolverine's ability to rise above tragedy and continue fighting, not just for himself, but for others, speaks to the strength of his spirit. His emotional endurance is often just as impressive as his physical prowess, and it's what keeps him moving forward through even the darkest times. Fact 50. Wolverine's ability to adapt to various situations and environments is one of his most defining traits. Whether he is in the heat of battle, lost in the wilderness, or navigating the complexities of team dynamics, Wolverine has shown a remarkable ability to survive and thrive. His skills are not just limited to combat, he is also a skilled tracker, strategist, and survivalist. These abilities, combined with his healing factor and indestructible claws, make him a force to be reckoned with. Yet despite his prowess, Wolverine's true power lies in his unwavering ability to face whatever life throws at him, no matter the cost. Fact 51. Wolverine's connection to the Canadian wilderness is one of the most enduring aspects of his character. It is in the rugged, remote forests of Canada that Wolverine learned to survive, honing his instincts and becoming the ultimate tracker. His time in the wild not only developed his combat skills, but also helped him come to terms with his past. In the solitude of nature, far from the chaos of the modern world, Wolverine could briefly escape the burdens of his immortality. This connection to the wilderness represents his primal side, the part of him that seeks peace away from human civilization. Fact 52. One of the greatest struggles Wolverine faces is reconciling his feral nature with his desire for control. While his enhanced senses and animalistic instincts give him a nearly unmatched advantage in battle, they also bring with them a constant internal struggle. Wolverine is often torn between embracing his animal side, which represents raw survival, and striving to retain his humanity, which is shaped by a desire for love, peace, and moral integrity. This ongoing battle within himself is a major part of what makes Wolverine such a fascinating and tragic figure, a man trying to tame the beast inside. Fact 53. Though Wolverine is often seen as the quintessential loner, His relationships with others reveal a different side of his character. His bond with Storm, for example, is one of mutual respect and deep friendship. Despite their vastly different backgrounds and personalities, Storm and Wolverine have always had a profound connection. Storm, with her calm demeanor and leadership qualities, often acts as a grounding influence on Wolverine, who can be impulsive and quick to anger. Their partnership within the X-Men is one of balance. Wolverine's raw strength and Storm's wisdom combine to create a powerful team dynamic. Fact 54. Wolverine's role as a mentor to the younger members of the X-Men has been one of the more tender aspects of his character. Though he often struggles with expressing his emotions, he has shown time and again that he cares deeply for the younger mutants under his protection. His relationship with Kitty Pryde is especially notable. He has taken on a fatherly role for her, offering her guidance and support during her formative years as a member of the X-Men. Wolverine's experiences, both as a warrior and a man, have made him an invaluable source of wisdom for the next generation of mutants. Fact 55. Wolverine's relationship with Jean Grey is one of the most complicated in the Marvel Universe. Though he has always had deep feelings for her, John's love for Cyclops has always kept them apart. Despite this, Wolverine's connection to Jean remains a central part of his emotional journey. His love for her is one of the few things that truly humanizes him and gives him something to fight for. Jean's death, and the subsequent toll it took on Wolverine, is one of the most heartbreaking events in his life. Her loss left an indelible mark on his soul, further deepening his inner turmoil. Fact 56. Wolverine's immortality is both a gift and a curse. While it has allowed him to survive countless battles and difficult situations, it has also forced him to watch as the people he loves grow old and die. This sense of isolation is a recurring theme in his story. Wolverine's enduring life means that he must confront the harsh reality that he will outlive many of his friends and allies. As the years pass, the weight of this unending life becomes increasingly difficult for him to bear. His immortality is a reminder that time is the one thing that he can never truly escape. Fact 57. Wolverine's inner conflict is mirrored by his many battles with the most dangerous foes in the Marvel Universe. His most infamous antagonist, Sabretooth, is a twisted reflection of Wolverine himself. Both are mutants with enhanced senses and regenerative abilities. Yet where Wolverine strives to maintain some semblance of honor and humanity, Sabretooth embraces his feral instincts without restraint. Their battles are not just physical, they represent a deeper philosophical conflict between the two. Sabretooth embodies pure chaos and brutality, while Wolverine is a constant search for redemption and a desire to keep his inner animal at bay. Fact 58. Wolverine's time with X-Force gave him an opportunity to explore a darker side of his personality. The team, composed of X-Men members tasked with carrying out covert missions, often dealt with morally ambiguous situations. Wolverine's leadership of X-Force pushed him to confront the brutal realities of warfare and to make difficult choices for the greater good. These decisions often tested his moral compass and deepened his internal struggle between his desire to protect and his tendency to be consumed by violence. His time in X-Force is a reflection of his willingness to do what's necessary, even if it goes against his personal code. Fact 59. Wolverine's greatest strength is his refusal to give up. He is a survivor through and through, and this survival instinct is what has allowed him to endure countless tragedies and losses. His life has been filled with painful memories, from the deaths of loved ones to the scars left by the Weapon X program, but Wolverine continues to fight. This resilience, the ability to keep moving forward despite the overwhelming darkness that surrounds him, is what makes Wolverine a symbol of hope for many. He shows that even in the face of unbearable pain, there is always the possibility of redemption. Fact 60. Wolverine's deep connection to his animal instincts is reflected in his ability to track and hunt. His heightened senses, including an acute sense of smell and hearing, make him an unparalleled hunter. This skill has been instrumental in many of his battles, allowing him to find his enemies before they even know he is there. However, his hunting abilities are not just a tool for violence, they are also a representation of his connection to his primal side. For Wolverine, the hunt is a way to reconnect with his roots, to embrace the survival instincts that have kept him alive for so long. Fact 61. Wolverine's history is one of constant reinvention and evolution. While his first appearances were as a fierce, almost animalistic character, over time he became more than just a brutal fighter. As his backstory developed, Wolverine's personality expanded to include a deep sense of morality, a fierce protectiveness for those he loves, and a genuine desire for redemption. His time as an X-Men member and his interactions with other superheroes helped shape him into the multifaceted character we know today. Wolverine is not defined by just one role. Instead, he embodies the complex tension between the warrior and the man seeking peace. Fact 62. Wolverine's unyielding commitment to justice often places him at odds with his allies. While many of the X-Men believe in the possibility of peaceful coexistence between mutants and humans, Wolverine's more cynical worldview leads him to question whether that dream is realistic. His experiences in wars, battles, and with the Weapon X program have taught him that survival often requires hard, difficult choices. His refusal to adhere strictly to any one philosophy makes him a wild card in the X-Men team, but it is also what allows him to remain such a powerful figure within the superhero community. Fact 63. Wolverine's healing factor is one of his most well-known abilities, but it is not without complications. This regenerative power allows him to recover from injuries that would be fatal to anyone else, but it also creates an emotional disconnect. Wolverine's body regenerates so quickly that he rarely feels the full extent of his injuries. However, the emotional scars from his past, the deaths of his loved ones, the betrayals he unfaced, and the manipulation he endured are not so easily healed. His healing factor allows his body to recover, but his heart and mind are often left to pick up the pieces. Fact 64. Wolverine's connection to Japan is deeply ingrained in his character. After spending years training in the country's ancient traditions, he developed a deep respect for its culture, especially the philosophy of the samurai. This influence is evident in his combat style and his sense of honor. Despite the brutal nature of his powers, Wolverine's time in Japan showed him that there is more to being a warrior than just fighting. The teachings he received there helped him understand the importance of restraint, balance, and the need for inner peace, something he continually strives to find amidst the violence that defines his life. Fact 65. Wolverine's struggle with his own identity is a central theme throughout his story. His memories have been manipulated and erased so many times that it becomes impossible for him to distinguish the truth from the lies. This disorientation creates a fractured sense of self, leading him to question his motives, his actions, and his past. Though he may appear as a confident, unstoppable force on the outside, internally, Wolverine is often uncertain about who he truly is. His journey, then, is not just about defeating enemies, but about finding a sense of peace within the storm of his own identity. Fact 66. Despite his reputation as a fighter, Wolverine has had many moments of quiet introspection. His time alone, often spent in solitude or amidst nature, allows him to reflect on his past and his role in the world. These moments are crucial to his emotional and psychological well being, as they give him the space to process his emotions and memories. Wolverine's desire for solitude is not just about avoiding others, but about creating a safe space where he can truly understand himself. It is in these quiet moments that the weight of his life becomes clear and his vulnerability shines through. Fact 67. Wolverine's fierce independence is one of his defining traits. He has always been a loner, unwilling to be tied down by the rules or expectations of others. This self reliance has led him into many dangerous situations, but it has also allowed him to be true to himself. Wolverine's refusal to be controlled by authority figures or outside forces is part of what makes him such a compelling character. He fights for his own survival, and in doing so, he refuses to be anyone's pawn. It is this unwavering determination to live life on his own terms that gives him an unmatched strength. Fact 68. Wolverine's relationship with Cyclops is one of the most complex in the X-Men universe. Both men have shared a deep respect for one another, though they often find themselves on opposite sides of key decisions. While Cyclops represents the strategic, disciplined leader of the X-Men, Wolverine embodies the more reckless, impulsive side of the team. Their differing approaches to leadership often lead to tension, but it is clear that they rely on each other in moments of crisis. Though their rivalry is often depicted as a personal struggle over John Gray, it ultimately reveals their shared commitment to the greater good. Fact 69. Wolverine's life is filled with personal loss, and one of the most poignant is the death of Mariko Yashida, the woman he loved. Mariko's death, caused by her own family's betrayal, was one of the most devastating events in Wolverine's life. This loss forced him to confront the pain of love and loss, something he had tried to avoid by living a life of isolation. Mariko's death is a turning point for Wolverine, as it forces him to reckon with his past and his own capacity for violence. Her memory continues to haunt him, even as he moves forward with his life. Fact 70. Wolverine's adamantium claws are one of his most iconic features, but their creation is deeply tied to his trauma. The Weapon X program laced his bones with the indestructible metal, turning him into a nearly indestructible weapon. The process of bonding the adamantium to his skeleton was agonizing, and it left Wolverine scarred both physically and emotionally. The claws are a constant reminder of the pain he endured, as well as his transformation into a living weapon. Yet despite this painful origin, Wolverine uses the claws reluctantly, only drawing them when absolutely necessary. They represent both his strength and his suffering. Fact 71. Wolverine's time in X-Force marked a period of deep moral conflict. The team tasked with handling covert operations and difficult missions, often pushed Wolverine into situations where he had to make tough choices. Unlike the more idealistic members of the X-Men, Wolverine had no problem getting his hands dirty for the greater good. This darker side of his personality made him a key member of the team, but it also served to highlight his internal struggle. The necessity of taking lives in X Force often brought up his guilt and pushed him to question his role in a world that demanded sacrifice. Fact 72. Despite his violent nature and troubled past, Wolverine's love for children is one of the gentler aspects of his character. His bond with Jubilee, in particular, demonstrates this softer side. Wolverine has often acted as a father figure to Jubilee, taking her under his wing and helping her navigate the complexities of being a young mutant. He has also shown a deep affection for other young mutants, offering them guidance and protection despite his own mistrust of others. Wolverine's relationship with the younger generation speaks to his desire to give them a better future than the one he experienced. Fact 73. Wolverine's healing factor not only allows him to survive fatal injuries, but also gives him a unique perspective on life and death. His immortality is a heavy burden that forces him to live with the constant reminder of loss. While his body regenerates, he watches those around him grow old, and eventually he is left to mourn their passing. This cycle of life and death is something Wolverine cannot escape, and it has become one of the most heartbreaking elements of his existence. He is forced to witness the fleeting nature of time, knowing that he will never truly find peace in it. Fact 74. Wolverine's deep connection to the X-Men is perhaps most evident in his relationship with Professor Xavier. Despite their differences, with Wolverine often preferring action and Xavier advocating for peaceful solutions, the two share a mutual respect. Wolverine, though often skeptical of Xavier's ideals, believes in the professor's vision for a world where mutants and humans can live in harmony. Wolverine's loyalty to Xavier, despite his gruff exterior, speaks to the deep bond that has developed between them over the years. It is a relationship built on trust, understanding, and a shared sense of responsibility for the safety of the mutant race. Fact 75. Wolverine's time in the Weapon X program continues to haunt him throughout his life. Though the program was responsible for the creation of his adamantium skeleton and claws, it also left him with deep emotional scars. The memories of the horrific experiments and the manipulation he endured were erased, leaving Wolverine with only fragments of his past. These fragments are often triggered by external events, leading him to confront the trauma he had buried deep within himself. The shadow of Weapon X follows him everywhere, a constant reminder of the price he paid to become the weapon he is. Fact 76. Wolverine's long lifespan has made him a witness to history, but it has also isolated him from the world around him. His immortality, while a gift, also separates him from others, making it difficult for him to form lasting bonds. His friends and loved ones age and die, while he remains the same, and this creates a deep sense of loneliness that Wolverine cannot escape. He is often forced to move on from those he cares about, which only compounds the emotional toll of his immortality. His ability to survive is a reminder of the cost of outliving everyone he has ever known. Fact 77. Though Wolverine is a skilled and dangerous fighter, his greatest strength lies in his ability to endure. He has been through unimaginable physical and emotional pain over the years, yet he continues to push forward. This endurance, which has allowed him to survive countless battles, is not just a product of his healing factor. It is a reflection of his inner strength, the strength to continue living even after everything around him seems to fall apart. Wolverine's ability to keep going, even in the face of despair, has made him one of the most resilient characters in the Marvel Universe. Fact 78: Wolverine's time with X Force was pivotal in exploring the darker aspects of his character. Unlike the more idealistic X-Men, X-Force operated in the shadows, taking on missions that were often morally questionable. Wolverine, with his willingness to get his hands dirty, was the perfect fit for the team. His leadership of X-Force pushed him to confront the idea of doing what is necessary versus doing what is right. This internal conflict between his sense of justice and the harsh realities of the world is what makes Wolverine such a compelling and complex character, always walking the fine line between hero and anti-hero. Fact 79: One of the most fascinating aspects of Wolverine's character is his deep connection to the wild. His time spent in the wilderness, particularly in the Canadian forests, is more than just a retreat from the world. It is a reflection of his internal battle between civilization and his primal instincts. The wilderness is where Wolverine can escape the noise of modern society and reconnect with the simpler, more instinctual side of himself. It is in these quiet, isolated moments that Wolverine is able to process his past and understand his place in a world that often feels like it is beyond his control. Fact 80: Wolverine's adamantium claws are not only his most recognizable feature, but also one of the most tragic aspects of his character. The claws were forcibly implanted during his time in the Weapon X program, and they are a constant reminder of the brutality he endured. While the claws are undeniably powerful weapons, they also symbolize Wolverine's transformation into a living weapon, a tool of destruction rather than a man of choice. Yet, despite the pain and manipulation associated with them, Wolverine has used these claws to protect others, making them both a symbol of his strength and his struggle for redemption. Fact 81: Wolverine's life has been shaped by the people he's lost, and his ability to carry on after these losses is one of his most defining traits. Each person he has cared about, from John Gray to Mariko Yashida to Professor Xavier, has left an indelible mark on him, making his journey one of constant mourning and rebirth. Wolverine's resilience is not just a product of his healing factor, but is deeply tied to his need to honor those he's lost by continuing the fight for others. His past is filled with tragedy, but it is also filled with a relentless will to survive and protect. Fact 82: Wolverine's ongoing struggle with his identity is one of the most compelling aspects of his character. His journey to understand who he truly is has been marked by numerous reinventions and realizations. Over the years, he has learned that his identity is not just about his powers or his past, but also about the choices he makes. Whether it's deciding to fight alongside the X-Men or forging his own path, Wolverine's story is one of seeking redemption and self-understanding. The question of, "Who am I?" has driven much of his actions, and his search for meaning continues to be a central theme in his narrative. Fact 83: Wolverine's time spent in the Weapon X program was not just a brutal physical transformation, but also a mental one. The program took a man with a complex past and turned him into a weapon devoid of his memories. The experiments left him a broken man with no understanding of his origins and no control over his own identity. Over time, Wolverine has pieced together fragments of his past, but the knowledge of how he was manipulated by those in power still haunts him. This loss of self and the scars left by Weapon X remain a fundamental part of his character. Fact 84: Wolverine's connection to the X-Men is one of mutual respect and growth. Though he often operates on his own, his bond with the team is undeniable. His leadership abilities, while sometimes rough around the edges, are grounded in his vast experience and understanding of the world's darker side. He serves as both a protector and a guide to the younger members of the team, teaching them not only how to survive, but also how to navigate the complexities of their mutant abilities. Wolverine's role as both an ally and a mentor shows the depth of his character, and his commitment to the team's mission is unwavering. Fact 85: Wolverine's iconic berserker rage is one of his most dangerous traits. When pushed to the brink, Wolverine can lose control, becoming a whirlwind of violence and destruction. This rage, though a powerful weapon, also makes him a danger to those around him. It represents the primal side of Wolverine that he constantly tries to keep in check. Despite his best efforts, the berserker rage often takes over, and it's in these moments that Wolverine can do the most damage, not only to his enemies, but to the relationships he holds dear. The rage is a constant reminder of the violence within him that he struggles to contain. Fact 86: Wolverine's role as a soldier is defined by the numerous wars and battles he's fought throughout his long life. From his time in World War II to his many skirmishes in various conflicts, Wolverine has seen the horrors of war firsthand. His experience in combat has shaped his worldview, making him skeptical of authority and hesitant to follow orders. He understands the true cost of war, not just in terms of lives lost, but also in the emotional toll it takes on those who fight. His long history as a soldier has made him both a fierce warrior and a weary man, burdened by the weight of his past. Fact 87: Wolverine's connection to his animalistic side is one of the most powerful aspects of his character. While his enhanced senses, claws, and healing factor are all part of his mutation, they also represent his deep, primal nature. Wolverine often finds himself caught between the man he wants to be and the animal he feels he is destined to become. This inner conflict is highlighted by his ability to tap into his animal instincts, using them to survive and protect others. Yet the same instincts that make him a formidable fighter also threaten to consume him, forcing him to constantly fight to maintain control. Fact 88: Though Wolverine is a skilled and deadly fighter, his greatest weapon is his ability to endure. He has been subjected to physical and emotional pain beyond what most could endure, but he continues to push forward. His healing factor allows him to recover from near fatal injuries, but it is his mental toughness and resilience that truly define him. Wolverine's ability to survive even the most devastating experiences, from his time in the Weapon X program to the loss of loved ones, speaks to his unbreakable spirit. He is a survivor, not just by physical ability, but by the strength of his will to keep going. Fact 89: Wolverine's role within the X-Men is complex, as he often finds himself in tension with the other members of the team. While his natural instincts lead him to act independently, The X-Men challenge him to be more than just a lone warrior. The team's idealistic vision of peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants often contrasts with Wolverine's more cynical outlook. Yet, despite his differences with the team, Wolverine continues to fight alongside them, driven by a sense of duty and loyalty. His internal conflict between his personal beliefs and the team's goals adds depth to his character, making him a constant balancing act between order and chaos. Fact 90. Wolverine's connection to the X-Men has evolved over time, especially in his role as a mentor. Though he is not always the most conventional teacher, his experiences as a soldier, a loner, and a survivor make him uniquely equipped to guide the younger generation of mutants. His teachings often focus on survival, resilience, and the importance of understanding one's own strength. Wolverine's mentorship isn't about providing answers, but about helping others discover their own paths. His guidance has been invaluable to characters like Kitty Pryde, Rogue, and Jubilee, who have all looked up to him for both his wisdom and his unyielding strength. Fact 91. Wolverine's life has been intertwined with numerous organizations and groups, but none more important than the X-Men. As a member of this team, Wolverine has fought alongside some of the most powerful and unique individuals in the Marvel Universe. The X-Men represent the ideal of mutant kind working together to protect a world that often fears and hates them. Wolverine's role in the team is multifaceted. He is both a warrior and a protector, sometimes acting as a gruff father figure to the younger mutants. His time with the X-Men has not only helped shape his character, but has also given him a sense of belonging that he has long sought. Fact 92. Though Wolverine is most often associated with his time with the X-Men, his solo adventures are equally significant in his development. His time spent as a lone wolf, without the constraints of the X-Men's ideals, has allowed him to explore the darker side of his nature. During these periods, Wolverine has had to confront his own demons, making decisions that often blur the lines between hero and anti-hero. His solo runs, particularly in Wolverine, Origins, and Old Man Logan, showcase a different side of Wolverine, one who is deeply burdened by his past and struggles to make peace with his actions. Fact 93. Wolverine's relationships with other superheroes, particularly those in the Avengers, are often complicated. His rough demeanor and willingness to operate outside the law have made him an uneasy ally to many of the more traditional heroes. Despite this, Wolverine's strength and tenacity have earned him the respect of characters like Captain America and Iron Man. His time with the Avengers, though brief in comparison to his time with the X-Men, has allowed Wolverine to confront larger threats and work alongside some of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe, adding further depth to his character and experience. Fact 94. Wolverine's ability to adapt to various environments and situations is a reflection of his survival instincts. Whether he is fighting in the heat of battle or navigating the complexities of his relationships, Wolverine has learned to adjust to the world around him. This adaptability is what has allowed him to survive so many years and so many battles. Whether facing superpowered foes or the inner turmoil of his past, Wolverine has always found a way to push forward. His resilience and ability to adapt are not just products of his healing factor, but of his unshakable determination to persevere. Fact 95. Wolverine's time in Japan, where he trained as a samurai, had a profound impact on his character. The discipline and philosophy of the samurai helped shape Wolverine into a more refined and controlled fighter, giving him a code of honor that contrasts sharply with his feral instincts. While his animal side is always present, his time in Japan allowed him to understand the value of restraint and honor. This experience became a cornerstone of his personality, blending his brutal nature with the wisdom and control of the samurai, creating the conflicted yet powerful figure we know today. Fact 96. Though Wolverine often distances himself from others, his bond with Rogue is one of the most poignant in his story. The two have shared a complex relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. Wolverine has acted as a protector and mentor to Rogue, helping her navigate the burdens of her powers and her troubled past. This relationship is marked by a deep sense of caring and tenderness that Wolverine rarely shows to others. It's a quiet bond, forged in the fires of battle and shared experiences, that demonstrates Wolverine's capacity for love and connection, even in the midst of his isolation. Fact 97. Wolverine's healing factor is more than just a practical power. It also plays a significant role in his emotional journey. His ability to heal from physical wounds reflects his emotional resilience, allowing him to continue fighting despite the toll his life has taken on him. However, this healing comes at a cost. Wolverine's immortality means he is forced to live with the painful memories of his past, including the losses and betrayals he has endured. His ability to survive is both a blessing and a curse, as it forces him to confront a past that refuses to stay buried. Fact 98. Wolverine's claws are more than just weapons. They are a symbol of his painful past. Forced upon him during the Weapon X program, the adamantium claws represent the brutality he was subjected to and the control that others tried to exert over him. Yet despite their violent origin, Wolverine has made the claws his own, using them not only to fight, but also to protect those he loves. The claws are a constant reminder of the violence he has endured, but also of his refusal to let his past define him. He wields them with a sense of purpose and honor. Fact 99. Wolverine's relationships with his enemies are as complex as those with his friends. One of his greatest adversaries is Sabretooth, a mutant with similar abilities and a history of violence. The rivalry between Wolverine and Sabretooth is a constant theme in his story, with both characters pushing each other to their limits. While Sabretooth embodies pure chaos and brutality, Wolverine represents the struggle for control and redemption. Their battles are not just physical, they are a clash of philosophies. Sabretooth seeks destruction, while Wolverine fights for survival and a sense of justice, even in a world that seems indifferent to his struggles. Fact 100. Despite his tough exterior, Wolverine is often depicted as a deeply reflective character. He is constantly grappling with questions of morality, identity, and the nature of his existence. His immortality forces him to confront the meaning of life as he watches those he loves age and die while he remains unchanged. These existential questions are often explored in his solo stories, where Wolverine reflects on his long and tumultuous life. His quest for meaning is a central theme in his narrative, as he struggles to understand his place in the world and whether he will ever find peace with who he is. Fact 101. Wolverine's long and often tortured past has shaped him into the complex character we know today. His origins are steeped in tragedy, from his troubled childhood to his transformation into a weapon. Throughout his life, Wolverine has been forced to deal with the repercussions of others' actions, especially those of the Weapon X program, which erased his memories and manipulated his identity. His ability to survive and adapt is a testament to his resilience, but it also highlights the emotional and psychological toll that his past has taken on him. Despite all of this, Wolverine continues to fight, driven by a sense of duty and personal redemption. Fact 102: Wolverine's connection to his animalistic side is perhaps most evident in his heightened senses and combat skills. His ability to track opponents still using his keen sense of smell and heightened hearing makes him an unmatched fighter. However, these powers also make him more attuned to the pain and suffering around him. Wolverine's animal instincts constantly battle with his desire for control, and the tension between the two is what defines him. His enhanced abilities are both a blessing and a curse, as they enable him to fight like an animal while reminding him of the savage side of his nature. Fact 103: One of the most poignant relationships in Wolverine's life is with his son, Daken. Daken was born out of a violent past, and their relationship is fraught with tension and pain. Though Wolverine tried to be a father to Daken, their bond is marked by betrayal, misunderstanding, and deep emotional scars. Daken's own struggles with his powers and his own sense of identity mirror many of Wolverine's internal conflicts. Their relationship represents the generational trauma that runs through Wolverine's bloodline, and despite his best efforts, Wolverine is forced to face the reality that he cannot protect his son from the darkness inside himself. Fact 104: Wolverine's time in Japan was a transformative experience for him. There, he trained in the ancient traditions of the samurai, learning to control his violent instincts and to live with honor and restraint. His time with Mariko Yashida, whom he loved deeply, further cemented his connection to the culture, even though their romance ended tragically. The teachings of the samurai shaped his understanding of duty, loyalty, and the value of sacrifice. Yet, even in Japan, Wolverine was constantly torn between his samurai discipline and his feral nature, embodying the inner struggle between his civilized side and his primal instincts. Fact 105: Wolverine's healing factor has made him one of the most enduring characters in the Marvel Universe. Not only does it allow him to recover from almost any injury, but it also keeps him from aging. This immortality is a blessing in some ways, but it is also a curse. Wolverine is forced to live through the deaths of his friends and loved ones, never able to truly escape the emotional toll of watching everyone around him grow old and perish. This long life has made him both a survivor and a man constantly haunted by the loss of those he has cared for. Fact 106: One of the most iconic aspects of Wolverine's character is his claws, which are a symbol of both his power and his pain. Originally made of bone, they were later coated with adamantium, the strongest metal known to man, turning Wolverine into an almost indestructible weapon. These claws are a constant reminder of the Weapon X program, which transformed him into a living weapon. Despite their violent origin, Wolverine uses his claws only when necessary, always trying to control the beast within. They are both a symbol of his violent past and the tool he uses to protect those he cares about. Fact 107: Though Wolverine is often seen as a solitary figure, he has had numerous friendships and alliances throughout his life. His connection to Cyclops, though often strained, has been one of the most enduring. While they often disagree on the best approach to leadership, Wolverine and Cyclops share a mutual respect for each other's abilities. They both understand the weight of leadership and the sacrifices that come with it. Wolverine's relationship with Cyclops is complicated, marked by rivalry, love for Jean Grey, and differing philosophies, but it is also a deep bond forged through years of fighting side by side. Fact 108: Wolverine's time as a soldier has deeply influenced his character. He has fought in numerous wars and conflicts throughout history, including World War II. His experiences in battle, combined with his extended lifespan, have given him a unique perspective on the horrors of war and the cost of violence. Despite his love for the fight, Wolverine is not naive about the consequences of war. His experiences have made him cynical about the idea of heroism, but they have also fueled his desire to protect others from the pain and destruction he has seen in the past. He fights because he has seen what happens when no one stands up to injustice. Fact 109: Wolverine's time with the X-Force team has often forced him to confront the darker aspects of his personality. As a member of this covert team, Wolverine has been involved in missions that require morally questionable decisions, pushing him to reconcile his desire for justice with the need to do whatever it takes to protect mutant kind. His leadership in X-Force has revealed the side of him that is willing to do what is necessary, even if it means crossing lines he would otherwise avoid. This internal conflict highlights the complexity of Wolverine's character, a man who is always walking the fine line between hero and anti-hero. Fact 110: Despite his rugged, hardened exterior, Wolverine's vulnerability is a central part of his character. His past has left deep scars, both physical and emotional, that he can never fully escape. He carries the weight of his experiences with him, and while he often hides it behind a tough facade, there are moments when his inner pain becomes clear. Whether it's the loss of his loved ones, the betrayal of those he trusted, or the constant battle with his own nature, Wolverine is a man shaped by his past. His vulnerability makes him more human, even as he struggles to remain strong in the face of overwhelming odds. Fact 111: Wolverine's long life has made him a witness to countless historical events, and his experiences in war and conflict have given him a unique perspective on the world. While many superheroes are born into their roles or come from a place of idealism, Wolverine's journey has been shaped by trauma, survival, and the weight of history. He has lived through wars, personal losses, and betrayals that have left him wary of both himself and others. His cynicism is not without reason, as he has seen firsthand the destructive nature of both humans and mutants, and it is this experience that makes him such a complex figure. Fact 112: Despite his years of suffering and hardship, Wolverine has never lost his humanity. This is most evident in his relationships with others, particularly those he has mentored. He may not always express his emotions openly, but his actions speak louder than words. His bond with Kitty Pryde is a prime example of this, as he has always seen her as a surrogate daughter. His protective nature toward her and other younger mutants shows that despite his inner turmoil, Wolverine is capable of deep care and affection. These relationships give him a sense of purpose and help him remain grounded, even in the darkest of times. Fact 113: Wolverine's history with Sabretooth is one of the most tumultuous and tragic in his life. Their rivalry, which spans decades, is one of the defining elements of Wolverine's story. Sabretooth, a mutant with similar abilities to Wolverine, has been a constant antagonist, with their battles often serving as symbolic clashes between two versions of the same being. While Wolverine seeks control and redemption, Sabretooth represents the chaotic, destructive side of their shared nature. Their rivalry is as much about philosophy as it is about physical combat, with Wolverine continually striving to overcome the darkness that Sabretooth so eagerly embraces. Fact 114: Wolverine's relationship with John Grey is one of deep, unspoken love. While John's heart has always belonged to Cyclops, Wolverine's feelings for her have been a constant throughout his life. His love for John has often placed him in an emotional struggle, torn between his feelings for her and his loyalty to his friend, Cyclops. Despite the tension this has created, Wolverine has always respected Jean and her relationship with Cyclops. His feelings for her represent the vulnerability beneath his tough exterior, a reminder that even the fiercest warrior has a heart that is capable of love, even if it's never fully returned. Fact 115: Wolverine's role as a mentor and protector has been integral to his character development. Though he is often portrayed as a loner, Wolverine has always looked out for those who are weaker or in need of guidance. His relationship with Rogue is one of the most touching examples of this. Having seen her struggle with the destructive power of her mutation, Wolverine took it upon himself to help Rogue come to terms with her abilities. Their bond became one of mutual respect and care, with Wolverine offering the tough love that only he could provide. This role as a protector and mentor reflects the quiet depth of his character. Fact 116: One of Wolverine's greatest strengths is his sense of loyalty. He is fiercely loyal to his friends and allies, and this loyalty often drives his actions. Despite his distrust of authority and his cynical view of the world, Wolverine has always put the well-being of those he cares about above his own. Whether it's fighting to protect the X-Men or standing up for the innocent, Wolverine's loyalty is unwavering. It's this loyalty that keeps him fighting even when everything seems lost, and it's what makes him a true hero, even if he often struggles to see himself as one. Fact 117: Wolverine's time as a soldier is a key part of his past. He has fought in numerous wars, including World War II, and his experiences as a soldier have shaped his outlook on life. Unlike many superheroes who have been thrust into their roles by fate, Wolverine chose the path of a soldier, and it has left him with a unique perspective on the horrors of war. His experiences in battle have taught him that survival often comes at a high cost, and it's this understanding that makes him reluctant to fight unless absolutely necessary. Wolverine has seen the consequences of violence, and it's left him scarred both physically and emotionally. Fact 118: Wolverine's deep connection to nature is one of the most defining aspects of his character. His time spent in the Canadian wilderness, particularly in the wilds of the Rocky Mountains, has given him a profound understanding of the natural world. Wolverine's ability to survive in these harsh environments is a reflection of his own resilience. The wilderness represents freedom to him, a place where he can escape the complexities of modern life and reconnect with his primal instincts. This connection to nature provides him with moments of peace as it allows him to rediscover himself away from the constant battles and emotional turmoil of his life. Fact 119: Wolverine's connection to his past is often clouded by the trauma he has experienced. The manipulation of his memories, particularly during his time in the Weapon X program, has left him with gaps in his understanding of who he truly is. This fractured sense of self has made it difficult for him to fully accept his own identity. While he has managed to piece together bits of his past, the truth remains elusive, and this uncertainty continues to haunt him. Wolverine's struggle to reconcile his past with his present is one of the core elements of his character, as he constantly seeks redemption for the mistakes he can't fully remember. Fact 120: Though Wolverine's violent nature often takes center stage, his greatest battle is within himself. The constant struggle between his animalistic instincts and his desire to be a force for good is a defining aspect of his character. While he is a fierce warrior, Wolverine is also a man who yearns for peace. His inner conflict between these two sides of his personality is what makes him such a compelling and tragic figure. Wolverine is constantly fighting to control the beast within, even as he is forced to use that same power to protect those he loves and fight against the forces of evil. Fact 121: Wolverine's immortality, while a gift, is also a curse. The healing factor that allows him to recover from nearly any wound also prevents him from aging, leaving him to witness the passage of time from a unique perspective. Over the years, he has watched his friends, allies, and loved ones age and die, leaving him with a profound sense of loneliness. This eternal life has made him reflect on the value of time, questioning whether his existence is truly a blessing or a never-ending burden. His ability to heal and survive is both a source of strength and a reminder of the isolation that immortality brings. Fact 122: Wolverine's time in the Weapon X program is a defining chapter in his life, not only because it gave him his adamantium skeleton and claws, but also because it robbed him of his memories. The traumatic experience of being experimented on and turned into a living weapon left deep scars, both physical and psychological. Wolverine's attempts to reclaim his memories and understand who he truly is have been a recurring theme in his story. The manipulation of his past, combined with the violent nature of the Weapon X program, has shaped him into a man who constantly struggles with his identity. Fact 123: Wolverine's berserker rage is one of the most feared aspects of his abilities. When triggered, this rage transforms him into an unstoppable force of destruction, his animalistic instincts taking over. While the rage makes him a fearsome opponent, it also represents the darker side of Wolverine's character, a side that he constantly fights to control. This berserker fury is a physical manifestation of his inner turmoil, his need to survive against overwhelming odds, and his struggle to reconcile his violent past with his desire for redemption. It is a constant reminder of the fine line Wolverine walks between hero and monster. Fact 124: Though Wolverine is often depicted as a loner, his relationship with his fellow X-Men is one of mutual respect. While his tendency to operate alone often leads to friction with the team, Wolverine has a deep understanding of the X-Men's mission and shares their desire to protect both mutants and humans. His bond with Professor Xavier, although complicated by differing philosophies, is built on respect and shared values. Despite his outward gruffness, Wolverine has always understood the importance of the X-Men's work and their fight for mutant kind's place in the world. His role within the team is that of a protector and a guide. Fact 125. Wolverine's time in the Savage Land, a prehistoric and untamed area of the Marvel Universe, played a significant role in his personal development. The harsh and wild environment of the Savage Land allowed Wolverine to reconnect with his more primal side, embracing the raw survival instincts that have always been a part of him. His adventures in this untamed land offered him both physical and emotional challenges, but they also provided him with moments of clarity. In the isolation of the Savage Land, Wolverine could momentarily escape the complexities of his life and focus solely on survival and self-discovery. Fact 126. Despite his rough exterior and tendency to push people away, Wolverine's capacity for loyalty and love runs deep. His relationship with Rogue, for example, is built on trust and mutual care. Wolverine has always seen Rogue as a surrogate daughter, offering her guidance and protection as she struggled to control her powers. Their bond represents Wolverine's capacity to care for those who are vulnerable and in need of protection. While he may not always express his feelings, Wolverine's actions speak volumes, and his devotion to those he cares about is one of the most consistent aspects of his character. Fact 127. Wolverine's time as a soldier and mercenary has left him with a deep understanding of the harsh realities of life. His experiences in various conflicts, particularly in the World Wars, have shaped his worldview. While many superheroes are driven by ideals of justice and peace, Wolverine's motivations are often more pragmatic. He fights because he knows what happens when no one does. His time as a soldier has made him cynical, but it has also given him a sense of responsibility. He fights not just for survival, but for those who are unable to protect themselves, even if it means making difficult choices. Fact 128. Wolverine's healing factor is one of his most unique abilities, allowing him to recover from almost any injury. However, this power also has profound psychological effects. The constant regenerations of his body mean that Wolverine experiences pain on a level that few can understand. While his body heals, his mind often struggles to keep up, as he is forced to relive traumatic events and experiences. This continuous cycle of injury and recovery takes a toll on him emotionally, as he is unable to truly escape the pain of his past. The healing factor is both a gift and a burden, one that Wolverine constantly grapples with. Fact 129. Wolverine's connection to the X-Force team gave him the opportunity to explore a darker side of his character. Unlike the more idealistic X-Men, X-Force operates in the shadows, taking on covert missions that often require morally ambiguous decisions. Wolverine's role as a member of this team pushed him to confront his willingness to do what is necessary, even if it means making choices that go against his personal code. This aspect of his character, his ability to take on the tough, dirty work to protect others, adds another layer of complexity to Wolverine's struggle between his ideals and the brutal reality of the world. Fact 130. Wolverine's role within the X-Men is not just as a fighter, but also as a teacher. While he may not be the most traditional mentor, his experience in both battle and life has made him a valuable guide for younger mutants. His mentorship has been particularly evident with characters like Kitty Pryde, Jubilee, and Rogue. Wolverine understands the importance of teaching the next generation to survive in a world that often hates and fears them. His lessons are not always gentle, but they are practical, focusing on survival, resilience, and the importance of knowing one's own strength and limits. Fact 131: Wolverine's time in the Weapon X program was not only a catalyst for his transformation into a living weapon, but also a source of deep trauma. The physical enhancements, including the adamantium bonding to his skeleton, were agonizing, but it was the emotional manipulation and erasure of his memories that left lasting scars. Wolverine's quest to uncover the truth about his past, to regain the pieces of himself that were stolen, has been a central theme in his story. The search for his true identity, who he was before he became the weapon, has been both a journey of self discovery and healing. Fact 132: Wolverine's relationship with Mariko Yashida is one of the most emotionally significant in his life. Their love story, though tragically cut short, played a pivotal role in shaping Wolverine's emotional world. Mariko, a woman of noble birth, represented the possibility of a peaceful life, a life Wolverine desperately wanted. Their romance, however, was marred by betrayal as Mariko was forced to choose between her love for Wolverine and her family's honor. Her eventual death at the hands of her own family left Wolverine devastated, but also shaped his understanding of love, sacrifice, and the fragile nature of happiness. Fact 133: Wolverine's healing factor not only allows him to recover from injuries, but also makes him nearly indestructible. However, this resilience often brings a sense of emotional numbness, as he is never truly able to rest. Wolverine's ability to heal means that his body never fully stops regenerating, and this constant process wears on him mentally and emotionally. The physical pain may fade, but the emotional scars he carries from his past, combined with the isolation of immortality, create a heavy burden. Wolverine's immortality is both a gift and a curse, one that he constantly struggles with, longing for the peace that he believes death could bring. Fact 134: Though Wolverine is often seen as the quintessential loner, his deep connections with the other X-Men members have proven to be an essential part of his character's evolution. His bond with Storm is one of the most notable. Despite their vastly different personalities, the two share a deep respect and understanding. Wolverine's more brutal, instinctive nature often clashes with Storm's calm, controlled demeanor. But it is this balance between them that strengthens the X-Men as a whole. Storm's leadership and wisdom offer Wolverine a sense of grounding, while his wildness provides her with the raw strength she often requires in battle. Fact 135: Wolverine's deep connection to the Canadian wilderness is more than just a backdrop for his survival skills. It's a sanctuary for him. The isolation of the wilderness allows Wolverine to reflect, to reconnect with the most primal aspects of himself. His time spent in the wild has allowed him to hone his abilities to survive and track, making him one of the most skilled fighters in the Marvel Universe. More importantly, the wilderness serves as a reminder of his past, a time before the complicated relationships and betrayals of the modern world, where survival was the only thing that mattered. Fact 136: Wolverine's most iconic attribute, his claws, are symbolic of his inner conflict. Initially part of his mutation, these bone claws became coated with adamantium, making them nearly indestructible. While his claws are often seen as tools for combat, They also serve as a reminder of Wolverine's painful past, a past filled with violence and manipulation. The claws represent not only Wolverine's strength, but also his struggle to control the beast inside. He uses them when necessary, but only reluctantly, as they often bring him closer to the violence he has spent years trying to escape. Fact 137. Wolverine's relationships with other mutants have often been strained, but they are also integral to his personal growth. His connection to Cyclops is a fascinating example. Though the two often clash, particularly over their shared love for Jean Grey, their relationship is one of mutual respect. Wolverine and Cyclops represent two different approaches to leadership. Cyclops embodies discipline and idealism, while Wolverine is more instinctual and pragmatic. Their differences have created tension, but their bond is grounded in a shared commitment to the X-Men's mission. Wolverine's willingness to fight beside Cyclops, despite their differences, highlights the depth of his loyalty to the team. Fact 138. Wolverine's time spent alone in the Savage Land, an untamed and dangerous corner of the Marvel Universe, gave him the opportunity to fully embrace his wild instincts. This period allowed him to step away from the complex relationships and responsibilities that weighed on him, focusing solely on survival. The Savage Land represented a return to a simpler, more primal existence, one where Wolverine could reconnect with the raw, unrefined part of himself. His time there helped him rediscover his purpose, free from the emotional entanglements of the outside world, reminding him of the man and beast he truly is. Fact 139. Wolverine's complex relationship with Jean Grey is another cornerstone of his emotional journey. Though he has always harbored feelings for Jean, their love has never fully blossomed, as she has remained devoted to Cyclops. Wolverine's love for Jean represents one of his most humanizing qualities, the capacity for deep affection despite his often cold, distant exterior. Their connection is marked by mutual respect, and though Wolverine has often struggled with his unrequited feelings, he continues to fight alongside the X-Men, always willing to protect Jean, even if it means suppressing his own desires for the greater good. Fact 140. Wolverine's immortality comes at a great emotional cost. As a man who has lived for more than a century, he has witnessed the rise and fall of nations, the deaths of countless friends, and the loss of his own humanity. His immortality has made him a reluctant observer of time, always remaining the same while everything else changes. The people he cares about grow old while he remains young, forcing him to confront the harsh reality that he is trapped in a cycle of survival that has no end. This eternal life has shaped Wolverine into the hardened yet vulnerable hero he is today. Fact 141. Wolverine's relationship with his adversaries has always been as complicated as his friendships. One of his most enduring enemies, Sabretooth, represents the dark mirror of Wolverine's own nature. Like Wolverine, Sabretooth is a mutant with enhanced senses, healing factor, and a brutal nature. However, while Wolverine strives to control his animalistic instincts, Sabretooth embraces them fully, seeking to destroy anyone who stands in his way. Their rivalry is more than just physical, it is an ideological conflict between survival and destruction, between control and chaos. This struggle between Wolverine and Sabretooth is a constant reminder of how closely intertwined their destinies are. Fact 142. Wolverine's ability to adapt to any situation has been a defining trait. throughout his long and tumultuous life. Whether fighting in the harshest battlefields of war or navigating the emotional minefield of his personal relationships, Wolverine has always found a way to survive. His time spent as a mercenary, soldier, and member of various superhero teams has honed his skills to perfection. He is a master strategist and an unparalleled fighter, able to outthink and outfight opponents no matter the odds. This adaptability has made him one of the most formidable individuals in the Marvel Universe, but it also leaves him constantly on edge, always preparing for the next battle. Fact 143. Though Wolverine often struggles with his own past, his time as a soldier and mercenary has shaped his views on honor and loyalty. His experiences in both World War II and later conflicts have shown him the worst aspects of humanity. However, it is these same experiences that have made him fiercely protective of those he cares about. Despite his hardened exterior, Wolverine's loyalty to his friends and allies is unmatched. He fights not only for survival, but for the well being of others, always putting the needs of those he cares about ahead of his own. This sense of duty has defined him as both a hero and a tragic figure. Fact 144. Wolverine's emotional complexity is one of his most intriguing aspects. Despite his violent tendencies, he is often portrayed as a man in search of peace. His connection to John Gray, for example, shows his desire for love and companionship, even though he knows their relationship can never fully be. Wolverine is a man marked by his past, and though he often pushes others away, he is constantly searching for meaning and connection. His internal struggle between his desire to find peace and the necessity of violence is what makes him such a multidimensional and compelling character. Fact 145. One of the most significant influences on Wolverine's journey is his time spent training in Japan. His experiences there not only shaped him into a more refined fighter, but also gave him a sense of honor and discipline that he lacked before. The samurai teachings he embraced during his time in Japan taught him the importance of balance, restraint, and self-control. These lessons helped Wolverine temper his feral nature, allowing him to operate more strategically in combat and in life. However, the brutal side of him never truly disappeared, and his inner conflict between these two natures is a key aspect of his identity. Fact 146. Wolverine's relationship with Professor Xavier is one of respect and occasional conflict. As a member of the X-Men, Wolverine has been a key part of Xavier's dream of peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants, even though Wolverine himself often questions this ideal. Wolverine's experiences in the world have made him cynical and distrustful of authority, including Xavier's vision. However, the respect Wolverine has for Xavier's leadership and his ability to see the good in others runs deep. Their relationship is one of mutual understanding, as both men have experienced pain and loss, but also share a commitment to protecting the innocent. Fact 147. Wolverine's bond with his fellow mutants, particularly the younger members of the X-Men, speaks to his role as a protector. While he is often seen as a gruff and distant figure, his care for the next generation of mutants is evident in his actions. His relationship with Kitty Pryde, for example, is one of deep affection, as he has served as a mentor and father figure to her. Wolverine understands the dangers of their world better than most, and his willingness to protect the younger mutants, even at the cost of his own safety, reveals the more compassionate side of his character. Fact 148. Wolverine's journey has been marked by a series of personal losses that have shaped his outlook on life. Each loss, whether it's the death of a loved one or the betrayal of a friend, has deepened his emotional scars. His immortality, while allowing him to survive, also forces him to witness the passing of those he cares about. This cycle of loss and survival has made Wolverine a deeply reflective character, constantly questioning the meaning of life and his role in the world. His immortality means he cannot escape the pain of these losses, yet he continues to fight, carrying their memory with him. Fact 149. Wolverine's sense of duty extends beyond the X-Men, as his past as a soldier and mercenary has instilled in him a strong desire to protect the innocent. This desire has driven him to take on numerous missions, many of them dangerous and morally ambiguous, to ensure the safety of those who cannot protect themselves. Despite his rough exterior and tendency to fight on his own, Wolverine has always put the safety of others first. His willingness to do whatever it takes, even if it means crossing moral lines, highlights the sacrifices he is willing to make for the greater good. Fact 150. Wolverine's legacy is one of resilience, survival, and sacrifice. Throughout his long and tumultuous life, he has faced countless challenges, from his time in the Weapon X program to the numerous battles he has fought alongside the X-Men. Yet despite the horrors he has endured, Wolverine remains one of the most enduring and iconic characters in the Marvel Universe. His story is one of constant struggle, not only against external foes, but against the darkness within himself. Wolverine's ability to continue fighting, even after everything he has lost, is a testament to his strength and unwavering will to survive. Thank you for traveling through Wolverine's world with me tonight. May his journey of strength, survival, and quiet reflection guide you gently into your own peaceful rest. As you lay down and close your eyes, let the weight of his struggles and triumphs slip away, and feel the calmness settle in. May you find comfort in the idea that no matter how difficult the road, there is always a way forward. Rest easy, knowing that, like Wolverine, you carry the strength to face whatever comes your way. Good night, and may your dreams be as peaceful as the night itself.